Ever stared at a spreadsheet and wondered what to do with it? Well, me too. Working with spreadsheets is time consuming and frustrating. But what if instead of writing formulas and working with pivot tables, you could just upload your data to a large language model and ask it questions in plain English? Well, I've heard Claude is really good at analyzing data, so I put it to the test. Let's see how it did. Okay, so first off, I want to take a look at the data files that we will be uploading into Claude. If you take a look here, I have a spreadsheet in Google, and at the top we have a logo and a couple of empty rows. I was experimenting with documents like this and PDFs, and what I found was that having all of this stuff at the top, it really confuses Claude or any LLM. So your best bet is, before you even start your data analysis, is you need to delete anything that's at the top that interferes with the data. So really simple, you just delete the logo, you delete those empty rows or columns, and then you have a nice clean file with your headers up here and then all of your data down below. Okay, so let's have a look at my data that I have here. I want to analyze a spreadsheet where I have a lot of anonymized passenger information for flights. And you can see I've anonymized all of the passenger details on the side here because we do not want to load any PII into any type of large language model. So I take this file and I pop it into Claude. And the first thing I wanted to ask is to list the top 10 travelers with the longest trip. And it analyzed the file for me, and then it gave me each of the 10 travelers with the longest trip and how long that trip was. And I went back into the document to verify that this information was correct. The next question I wanted to ask is, give me a list of travelers most likely to book the day ahead. I want to know those travelers that are booking last minute, because those fares are usually a lot higher. So it analyzed the data, and it had a little bit of trouble with this question. And I think part of the reason is I needed to upload the file with the data again. And I found that with future questions, I just needed to keep giving it the file along with the question, because for some reason it just couldn't go back and reference the original submission. So as you can see, I've said, here's the file, and then it did a lot better job. And it has noted that we have a total of 57 travelers who are booking the day before, and we have a couple who do this more frequently, traveler number 1, 169, and 396. And again, I went in to verify that all of this information is correct. The next thing I wanted to do is load up the hotel file that we looked at a little bit earlier and ask it some questions around hotel rates, which cities we're spending the most in, and if there are any savings we could make if we shift some of our stays from higher priced hotels to lower priced hotels. So let's have a look at how it did. My first question, pretty easy, show the 5 hotels with the lowest rate. And you can see here we have the 5 hotels: the Nugget Casino Resort, the Holiday Inn Express, and the Holiday Inn Boone. And it's given me the nightly rate as well for each of those. Verified those, they are correct. Then I asked it to show the top 3 cities with the highest spend. So here we go. We've got top 10 cities, and I have a list, 1 to 10, Macon, Georgia, 95,000, so on and so on. And again, this information was correct. Now, I'm asking it a much harder question, and this is where I started to run into a lot of trouble. So my question is, if we move all of our stays to the 3 lowest nightly rate hotels, show how much we'll save. We can only shift 25% of the total stays into any one hotel, because obviously we don't want to overload that hotel. And what happened was we really struggled to get the right answer, and I had to keep loading things up, and the information was all wrong. It was picking hotels that weren't the cheapest, or it was telling me that city didn't have hotels even though it did. So I tried to simplify, and I stopped asking about the top 3 cities, and I said, okay, let's just focus on Macon. So I said, because I was telling it, the analysis is incorrect. Let's try again. Just look at Macon, calculate the savings if we move all the hotel stays. And so I've given it the file again. It has given me the right amount for total spend and total nights, and even the total stays. But then when we come down to here, it's telling me 2 unique hotels. is all that exists, which I know is not right because I went back and I verified that there's like 15 hotels. And then the next issue we have is it says the Holiday Inn Express is the cheapest, which is actually true. $90 is the cheapest rate. The Holiday Inn Express obviously has more than that, right? But then the next cheapest is the Courtyard by Marriott Warner at $139. But I went back to look and there's a Comfort Inn for $125. So then I had a lot of arguments where I'm saying, what about the Comfort Suites near Robins Air Force Base, which is less expensive? And we just go on, and then it kind of doesn't get where I want it to go. So I guess where we landed is that Claude is definitely a mixed bag when it comes to doing data analysis. And I know a lot of folks rave about Claude and how great it is at spreadsheets and data analysis and all this wonderful math and coding. But at least in my experience and with the complicated travel data that I had on hand, it was okay when we were asking it really simple questions. But when we started to get more complex and asked for calculations, it really struggled. And I think for me, the bottom line is a lot of those easy questions, it's much faster to answer those in your spreadsheet with a simple formula. The problem with loading that information up into Claude and asking the questions is it usually takes a couple of minutes for it to run all the calculations. And so getting these simple answers takes a lot of time. Now, I'm thinking that the models will keep improving. We might get to a point where this becomes better, more accurate, and faster. But for now, sadly, I'm going to stick to an Excel spreadsheet for my data analysis. Well, hopefully you found this enlightening, if not maybe super helpful. But at least now you know the pros and cons of working with Claude for data analysis and what to do when you need answers out of your data. If you did find this video helpful, then please subscribe, hit like, even leave me a comment. I love to see those, and we'll see you next time.